This is number 11 of Debunking Democrat Lies One at a Time by Sense Chaser Bob. Bob talks sense. That's the first time I've cited my name, my chosen nicknames on here. Bob is my name. But the border. Number 11 is the border. And I'm going to take you some different directions on this that you haven't heard talked about before. But in general, clearly the Democrat Party lies about the border. They say the border is a racist issue, okay? How many countries are in the world? There's a lot of European countries. And so when the Democrats call somebody racist, they're calling European Americans racist, white Americans racist. And so they come from European countries. And Russians are white. Ukrainians are white. And they could be crossing our borders too, Russian spies. And so it's not about racism. Anybody in the whole world can cross our border when you open the border like that. And the way the Democrats have. And so we got Russian spies. And now, as a matter of fact, there's been threats on President-elect Trump's life. Before the election, mostly, I think there still may be some from Iran directly. They gave him 7 days to make sure whatever agent came here and got into our country. That's the thing. They got into the country. Yeah. And he had 7 days. Iran gave him 7 days to have him, to get him before the election. Apparently they didn't think he was going to win. But anyway, but that's Iranians. It's not racist to want that out of here. It might be racist by the Democrats wanting to make sure that guy could get here and put it hurting. So the Democrats are really bad because I've seen some of them are extreme to the extreme bad and are glad. They're hoping this guy will hurt our president-elect. And that's what they want. And, you know, how does that make me want to? Somebody like LeBron James is probably hoping for the worst. And, you know, that makes you, in my case, I would like to challenge LeBron James to get in a sanctioned boxing ring with me. Yes, I'm only 5'11", 6 foot, and he's 6'9", but David beat Goliath. And, you know, so I say that in a sanctioned boxing ring. LeBron's a bigot. He's a real bigot. I mean, the Democrats are the real bigots and racists. They are the true ones. And if you go back to history, that'll be another subject. Let's talk on the border. But they're starting to make me mad because I think it's time to fight back with LeBron James and Beyonce and people that just keep hating on folks. It's time for them to start getting. I mean, we still got to do it civilly. They're not civil though. They are not civil. They do put the gangsters and stuff on us, threatening us all the time. And they have people. We got people. I know people that have been stabbed to death by Democrats because they support Trump. Right? I know about people. I mean, like that. And so that's happened a lot. And those are the guys that promote it. LeBron's the one that promotes that because he refuses to talk. And really, when two countries refuse to negotiate and refuse to talk, that's when they end up going to war. And so LeBron's he's trying not to give us any choice. And Beyonce now, she's not going to sing, and all these people aren't going to sing in any states that voted Republican. In other words, they're not trying to make peace with us or make any kind of understanding with us. They're just claiming we're evil bigots and all this kind of stuff. And they're just like the KKK. That's who LeBron James is, just like the KKK. So is Beyonce and all her people. They're just like the KKK. And they do have people doing their violence for them. They don't do it, and they'll act like, if you fight back, they're going to act like it's your fault. If one of them gets hurt, then it's your fault for defending yourself against one of them jumping, starting to fight, and we fight back. Anyway, that's crazy. That's the game they've played. I mean, they're playing that game. They're the ones starting all that, trying to. But am I scared of LeBron? No, I'm an athlete myself. I wouldn't be scared to get in with LeBron. I wouldn't be scared to lose either in a real boxing ring. But I don't want to fight I don't want to fight somebody in the street. I've never hurt anybody in the streets. And I don't want to. And I do everything I can to stay out of a fight in the streets because you don't know what's going to happen. And I don't want to go to jail. So I'm not advocating that. But LeBron James he's advocating violence. And so is He's a bigot. Any bigot advocates violence, and he refuses to talk, and he lies about you to your face and gets you in trouble with other people. He's trying to get you beat up. He's trying to get other people to beat us up, is what he's doing. So, because he's teaching them that we're no good, we're worthless, we're a piece of garbage. And that's basically, that's how, he's taking that revenge on us when it was because he says that's how we used to talk to black people. And it's not true. It was the Democrats that used to do that. He's siding with the same people that used to do that so he can have the right to do it, because maybe he hates white people so much, white Americans so much, that he wants to do it to the good white Americans, not the bad white Americans, not the ones. He's siding with the bad white Americans. Technically, he's siding with the KKK. LeBron is with the KKK. That's who Beyonce is with. The Democrats are the KKK. They are the real KKK. All right, that's a fact. They are the real KKK supporters, and so they're still getting to be the KKK. They just get to do it against people like me who believe in God, and LeBron likes that just because I have white skin, I guess, and maybe he really doesn't know that. Maybe he doesn't know it, but because he won't listen. So it's a trick. People don't know it. It's truth. A lot of people don't know that, but that's a fact. But the border laws. Okay, this is about the border. It took me a second to get around. It's not racism. I got stuck on that because all that falsifying of racism, it's not about racism. We're actually keeping the KKK out. Trump is keeping the KKK out. The Democrats that LeBron's siding with, they think, first of all, Hispanics, there's more white Hispanics than there are black Hispanics. There's more white and light brown Hispanics, medium tone, like Indian, like American Indian Hispanics, than there are black Hispanics. There are way more white Hispanics, maybe than both when you count Spain and Portugal, when you count them, and Cuba. And there's certain countries in South America that are mostly white, I think. I don't know if Chile is. Well, I'd have to think that one over. So, but there's plenty of brown Hispanics and not as many black Hispanics. Black Hispanics are a minority. So the Democrats may have played a trick on LeBron and everybody else. The white racist Democrats, they may have played a trick. So they're allowed to call me racist falsely, but the fact checkers may say, this is hate speech. I'm not allowed to say this about Democrats, but it's actually true. And I'm not calling for you to hate them. I'm calling you to forgive them, understand it, tell the truth, and help people to convert and change their life, or at least be called out on their true racism and put it. Let people be known they're the real racist, and they need to quit being racist and quit trying to start stuff. So, they may silence me on this, but I'm telling the truth here. They're not. And so they could have been playing a trick. The white Democrats could have played a trick on black Americans this whole time. Even the black racists that they team with. The white racists on the Democrat Party team up with the black racists to hate on the freedom side of America. They hate on the Republicans. They lie about them being racist because they like segregation. It keeps everybody segregated. And so, but they may have been playing a trick because the black racists believe that it's racist to have a border law, and they believe it's racist to keep all these Hispanics out, when in fact the white racist trick of the Democrats might be tricking them by bringing in more white people, white Hispanics, than black Hispanics. That might be going, I don't know we got all kinds of people coming through. Chinese, there's tons of Chinese coming through, right? And so, but the big problems, those problems are real down there with the fentanyl and everything. But here's my new take on it. And if I want to beat 10 minutes, I might not. I've tried to put in my head, well, what if we're making a big deal about the border in this sense? There's two issues here. Well, language is one thing. We don't need language barriers. It's hard in the grocery store when you can't ask a person who's working where something is, and then they're embarrassed and they pretend they don't know, or they'll point you real quick and they don't want you to realize they can't speak English and stuff. But that's a barrier, and that's not trying to help anybody. They're trying to hurt us by making it so we can't communicate. They want to silence speech. They're silencing speech already. They keep shutting us off with this fact-checking stuff. And they should tell us, they should just correct the fact and say, this is true, and then I can argue that I don't think you're right about that. I think you're wrong. I don't think it is true. And your facts are wrong, and I think my facts are more in line with the reality. And we should be able to debate that back and forth rather than shutting you out. But they're silencing speech. And really, it's another trick by them bringing people in that speak other languages. And we can't communicate. They're doing that to silence speech. They're not doing it to be kind to anybody, because they should be. They said, they used to argue during the Bush years, don't nation build in other countries. So they didn't want us helping other countries. But these people that can't speak our language should stay in other countries, and we should help their countries, right? Instead of having them mess up our country to where, they're coming here to help the Democrats mess up the country, and then to where we're not even able to help their countries anymore. If we didn't have all this stuff, they're bringing us more problems on purpose, the Democrats, because they're purposely bringing people here who want to that hate our country and who want to bring drugs, not healthy drugs, mixed drugs. And so that's another issue. That's an issue the Republicans nor the Democrats have a good hold on. And I usually argue the drug culture stuff. And everybody thinks, that's all he ever talks about is drugs. And it's because I understand it, trust me. I understand that they should legalize. They should definitely legalize God's medicinal plants. That includes the coca leaf. The leaf itself, make a tea. So people can make a tea out of it. They can be a scientist. You got to have the freedom to be a scientist and test products yourself. I don't advocate that everybody does that. I'm saying, but we got to have more people that are free to be the scientists, because they're lying and they're making the strongest forms of those things and then mixing them, and then they're putting them in the hands of thieves and dealers. And I'm going to stop on that point and continue. So what I've contemplated is that, what if our inner cities a lot of times are more violent than the people coming across the border, right? I've thought of that over, and I thought, well, maybe LeBron thinks that we're making it up about violent people coming across the border. Maybe they really think they do care on this issue or something. I don't think so. I think they want the new world order. And so what if we jumped ahead, and what if we didn't make a big issue about the border, and the whole world, the rest of the world did the same thing, and we could all go anywhere we want, anytime we want. Of course, distance is an issue. It's pretty far. It's pretty expensive to travel. I wish my nose would quit itching. Sorry. But so what if we did that? Is that feasible? Right now, it's not feasible. I'll just say, because it is true that the KKK comes across the border. It is European KKKs. It is true that Nazis, real Nazis, Islamic people who are Islamic extremists who are like the Nazis, who hate Jews and hate Israel, have come across our border, and we've seen them marching on college campuses. And we've seen Kamala Harris take their side, and Biden somewhat, and go against Israel. We've seen that if you paid attention to the news. You saw it last year and the year before. And so they're sitting there marching, and they want to kill Israel and all this stuff, and marching right here in our country. So we've let the wrong people in, according to the border laws and stuff. You want people in who are not Jew haters and not haters of anybody, right? And so that's hard to know who that is, because they lie and say Republicans hate people. They say because they're not for messing up, for making fake marriage laws, that they hate people who want to marry the same sex. Just because you don't want fake laws and to try to pretend the law is a real law in line with family value, creating real families and natural families and natural laws, and supporting, and you want laws that support expectation of the father and mother to both be responsible for the child, instead of manufacturing children in ways that aren't natural by law, doing it by law. Come on, that's not hating people. That's trying to teach people to be responsible. It's making us to be responsible. Myself, if I'm standing up for that law, I'm expected. I have to be responsible too to that law, and it's not easy to. It's not easy to get married and not get divorced, but that's the law. Marriage should be the law over divorce. Divorce is an option. It's an option, but it's a frowned on option. It's a last resort option, right? Marriage is supposed to be for life. So we shouldn't change that either. We shouldn't make it to keep it where it's expected to be for life. All right. So the border. So what if we open the border and around the whole world? And technically, it is open, but we have certain rules. We have passports. You're supposed to get a passport, a visa, and things like that. So technically, they're open, but you have to have high qualifications for it, because when you get mobs, you look at armies and stuff, and you want to talk about mobs and gangs, but armies that are for a government and they're official and they can have official training and everything else are really big and powerful. All right. So, and every country needs one. And so we should have respectful laws at the border, because then you get terrorists, you get gangs, you just got groups of people that really hate. And sometimes it's built up for different reasons, because one country has more oil than the other, another country, I don't know. Anyway, I can't figure it out. Nobody can figure out all that stuff. We know what exists. So, terrorist groups, various terrorist groups, different kinds, various almost terroristic gangs of different kinds. We know we have different names of different gangs, and some are more violent than others. Some are proud of being violent, and we've let that in our country. So, I think to play that game is really. It might be somebody who hates America like LeBron James. And now he did the Olympic thing and all that this year, and they put him, he's been the guy going against the flag, and he didn't explain himself, but he was the leader of I forget what it was during the Olympics. He led off on that, but a lot of that's for election year. He did that because he wants to make his statement and act like he's a supporter of American values. And then because it's an election season, he wanted his voice to be heard more big when he made an endorsement. And so really the news is wrong when they're talking about these endorsements. And I'm rambling on this point for some reason. It's a big point. So, I mean, I still have to come around and say, look, they're sneaking fentanyl. They've killed millions of Americans through the fentanyl, putting it in drugs. Okay. And a lot of people say, well, they shouldn't do drugs. And they got what they deserved. Well, you're part of the problem then. You're the bigger part of the problem. Those drugs we should have legal venues for people who've been pre-exposed. It's not for people to never try a drug. I'll say, don't ever try a drug unless you need to for some medical reason, because it's like chocolate. Once you try chocolate, it's not that you're going to be addicted, but you're going to want to try chocolate again. You're going to remember the chocolate. If you liked it, you're going to want to try it again sometime. And so it's not, when it comes to the illegal drugs, you try them, they're kind of like chocolate. Once you try them, you're going to want to try them again sometime if you like them. Some people just don't like one. Once they try them, they've tried them and don't like certain ones. So they're lucky in a way. But the drug's not the biggest problem, actually. It's the dealers that are the biggest problem. The street dealers, it's the laws, that how much trouble you can get in for it if you get caught doing it. It's that creates paranoia and all this kind of stuff. And so the dealing groups are more like predator groups. And they will steal, kill. They'll take everything you have in one shot. And the drugs don't take everybody's money. People don't spend all their money on drugs. It's the dealing groups that steal from people. And that's a good thing to know. But that's all coming across the border. They got slavery, and it's the drugs create a slave market, and the Democrats like slavery. And that's another reason they keep the borders open. That could be a reason LeBron likes the borders open. And he calls it racist, which is a lie. They know it's not racist. And I say all these people, when Jimmy Kimmel and all them were crying after the election, I think there was fake tears because they're mad that they can't keep their slaves coming across the border. And they have all their slaves coming. They are slaves. They know they're slaves. Not all of them, but a lot of them are slaves. And when he's talking about workers, he might be talking about the ones working all the nightclubs around the country that watches Jimmy Kimmel. And they're enslaving young women from other countries. And maybe it's not the worst form of, I don't know how, I'm sure there's bad forms. Maybe in some cases, some of the people that are slaves technically like being slaves. If they're I don't know how that goes. If they're getting their drugs they want, if they're getting the sex partners they want from it, temporarily liking it. But most of it, there's probably a few, maybe they are being treated pretty well. And, but for the most part, you got a bunch of thieves surrounding them. You got violent people surrounding them. So I don't see how it could be that likable. But that's their jobs. They're probably working under the table for nightclubs, everything else. in certain places. And is that who Jimmy Kimmel's crying for? Those? They're going to lose their jobs? Well, they're probably better off. They're probably safer somewhere else. But it was fake tears because he knows he's lying when he's talking about losing the democracy. When he cried fake tears for the democracy, he knows they're the ones trying to end the democracy. The Democrat Party wants to end the democracy for the one world order under one dictator. They want a dictator, by the way. So that's what they want the open borders for. So that's why that's such a long subject. You can go into so many things, and I could talk about so many possibilities there. But the Democrat Party does want. They got and they want the world order. They got Illuminati and all that. They're for the Illuminati and everything, right? And that's all for it. They want a dictator. And so the reason they hate Trump is because he's going to stop the world from having a one world dictator. He's going to slow that process down, maybe reverse it for 200 years. You know, we might have freedom in a lot more countries. Guess what? He's going to help a lot of other countries be free. He's going to help Israel be free. Israel might help. We've helped Angola, Africa to be free. Now, George Bush helped that. George W. Bush. So we might help Angola to make more countries in Africa be free. You know, Nigeria is not free from Islamic slavery. They're not free from that. They got slaves, real slaves. Black on black slavery by Muslims. Black on Arabs have black slaves. And so the Democrats are hiding that stuff because they support it. And so, you know, if we protect our borders, we're strong enough to help all those people. By helping them empower themselves. The other countries, we're able to empower their countries to be more free. So anyway, so the lies about the border and calling it racist and other things, acting like it's no big deal and all that, that's all lies. And then, anyway, that's number 11, I think.